into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Micheal Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you out there in the Life is a Sacred Journey neighborhood. I am Micheal Pope, and I am your host. It's so good wow, it's Friday. I have had a heck of a week. I'm having allergies, so my eyes are itchy. I'm coughing, I'm sneezing, I'm like all of the little dwarfs, right? Cough, sneezy, all of that. But it's so good to be with you this morning, and it's a little chilly here in Northern California, but it's a wonderful day to be alive, and it's so good that you're here. So go get your coffee, your tea, and we are doing pondering number something, and I don't know what it is. Felicia knows what it is. But before we get started, I want to lift up, Felicia is the content manager, and she pulls together all of our recordings, and she really is helping me to vision Life is a Sacred Journey. And so she is dear to me. She is a friend and a daughter and someone who I have a great deal of love for. And I love her family because I love her, so and they live in Moldova. Her family lives in Moldova. And I know I've heard NPR this morning and last night and then over the last couple of days. And, it's the Ukraine madness is just that madness. And, we lift up and pray and think about everybody that's going through that life experience there, or anybody that's in the middle of war and conflict. And I know it's a bit selfish, but for me at the moment, I really am thinking and visioning Felicia's parents and her love, the extended family and folks there in Moldova. So please join me this morning. The candle is lit. For those who have passed away during this COVID pandemic, those that passed away in 9/11, when that happened, when just people who, life in itself, not natural deaths. And, natural deaths we kind of expect, even though it causes us grief and pain. It's when it happens when somebody runs into a school with a gun or, into an office building, all these unexpected violences that we perpetrate on each other and create loss for our fellow human beings. So the candle is lit for that. But this morning, a special shout out to Felicia's mom and dad and her family that are still there in Moldova, farming and loving chickens. And we love you, and we are praying for you over there. And we hope that peace will come to your land again, and that you can continue to be the beautiful family that you are, and just to live out your life on your property in peace without hearing bombs and conflict. So to Moldova, and to, I don't even know the address of where her parents live, but I know they live on a beautiful farm. My love to you, my prayers to you, and we pray for your safety and for the safety of all individuals that are in the path of war, because war is not something that takes all the individuals in a community. War sometimes begins because two people couldn't get along behind closed doors, or governments are fighting for this or for that. And the people that live in those areas don't have anything. They don't have, as I've been saying since I was a teenager, this was a slang. They don't have a dime in that quarter, but yet they are impacted by the anger or the sense of power that people want to have. So please take a moment, and let's take a moment of silence just for Moldova and the Ukraine and all the places, the war-torn places where somebody is waking up this morning, a child is waking up this morning, and there's war and there's pain, and they can't go out and laugh and play. So a moment of silence for all of that. Thank you for your tolerance and patience. Excuse me. All right. Thank you so much. So all of you that are Life is a Sacred Journey followers, first of all, big hug to you. Please give yourself a big hug. I'm just so thankful to all of you that come back every week, and that you follow me and, walk with me. And some of you I've never met, and some of you I know very well. So thank you so much for making Life is a Sacred Journey. We want to increase our numbers over the next, over the summer and over the remainder of this year. So please share our platform with someone else. Hit the share button. However you get the message out, share it so that other people, or right now, hit the share button and click some people so they can join us. You know that one of my goals is to read about 100 books a year. I'm a little behind this year. I have about 4 of them going at a time. I'm really funny like that. Like I'll read a book, and particularly because a lot of them are resource books or self-help books or books that somebody that I'm going to interview on Life is the Sacred Journey, and I read their book as much of it as I can prior to them coming on, so that we can have a fruitful conversation. And one of the books that I started to read is Let There Be Light. And it's by Liana, Finck, Let There Be Light. And it's the real story of her creation. I thought this was an amazing book. So this is, it's written in what they call a comic book sort of format. And it's the Bible, particularly, and I I just love it. I love it. I haven't read it all the way yet, but it's from a woman's perspective, as if God is a woman, and from that voice, and it's using the Torah. Because Liana Finck has a Jewish background and has practiced the Jewish faith, and so she's crossed it over and written this incredible book. So please, if you're interested, and I'm going to try to get a hold of her because I think she's close by, but Let There Be Light, the real story of her creation by Liana Finck, I believe is how you say it, and it is funny. It makes you cry. I've cried a couple of times, but I've laughed a couple of times. And it's from the heart of a woman. You can feel it, and that's how we think. But it's also a great read for anybody. Again, Let There Be Light. So I'm excited about reading it. I've thumbed through it, different parts of it, and as anybody, excuse me, those of you that know me, I actually, have a Torah, a Quran, an NIV version of the Bible, the Message, the King James version. So, I have all these Bibles or books of faith that I compare to each other and read and all of that. So this is now another edition. So I'm always trying to bring you books that stretch your imagination a little bit and help to enlighten you on the sacred journey of life. So check it out. So again, we had a guest today. We had guests scheduled today. Some students from UC Berkeley were going to join us to talk about the Brain Initiative program that we are engaged with here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay. It's a program from the University of Japan, and something came up in one of their classes, and so we had to move that. And so you're stuck with me in another Pondering. So it's good to be here with you again. This is Life is a Sacred Journey, and I am your host, Micheal Pope. So I wanted to talk about mindfulness a little bit and how it can help us during COVID. One, I don't know what's happening in your neck of the woods or the neck of the country that you live in, or one side of the pond, but the new strain of COVID is on the rise. We're seeing red zones, which means, put the mask back on and all of that. I kind of, that whole thing where you hated it when your mom and dad came back to you and said, I told you so. Remember that? Remember when you asked them something or they gave you advice and then you did it your own way and then they said, I told you so. Well, I told you so. I've told so many people who, they said, oh, but they've lifted the mandate and they've done this and they've done that. We have to be inquisitive about our own health status. And so going to the CDC website, listening to opinions that are not filled with political jargon and trying to make you do something that you don't want to do. But the reality is we have China back in lockdown for COVID, for this new strain. We have red zones popping up all over the place. And the one thing that we know and that we've known from the very beginning is this little doohickey right here, the broken one, keeps you 99% from giving or getting COVID, passing it, right? So when you don't have this barrier, I'm throwing it in the trash, not on the ground, your probability increases, right? Even those of us that are vaccinated and also have the booster are being diagnosed with this strain of COVID. Some people are feeling sicky sick, real sick, fever, all of it. Not bad, not life-threatening because again, they have the vaccine and the booster. But let's contemplate this. Vaccine, booster, so 1 + 1, and you still got another new strain of COVID. People are being diagnosed. So what does that mean to me? That means putting on a mask, and I've had this since the first COVID or second or third COVID. Was my demonstration show and tell mask because it's real tiny. It wasn't meant to be worn by anybody. And wear your mask. Wear your mask. And you know what? I've traveled out of the country back in, I think it was 2015, 16. I went through Singapore and Hong Kong and I did all kinds of things. And every airport area that I went into after I left the States, people were wearing a mask. And there was no pandemic at that time. It's just that people, when they get into congregate settings in some of these European countries and all over the world outside of the US, they put a mask on because they don't want to contract anything. They don't want to get sick, but they also, maybe they have a sniffle or whatever, they put a mask on. I think sometimes, and this again, please, life is a sacred journey is not to make you feel guilty. It's to lift you up and to get you thinking, to enlighten your mind and to stretch a little bit and think about what you say and what you do. The reality is this: we are in a pandemic still. Just because a group of people have said to you, don't wear your mask because of the pressure of groups and individuals and all kinds of pressure to say, lift this mandate. And I get it, because we're losing money daily trying to stay open here at ASEP. We have 2 centers. Hayward is out of the picture now. No more Hayward until we can reopen. And we're going to hopefully work with a church in the Hayward area if we still can and have the capability. And then our Fremont site, we're worried about our ability to reopen it because we can't hire staff. We're finding that a staff that we would pay $20 an hour for, we're competing against another organization that can pay them $25 and $30. And so at the end of the day, you have to adapt to life situations. I was listening to somebody, I don't know who it was this morning, and they were saying that we just need to be patient. We need to be patient and wait on stuff instead of constantly trying to push the needle and make time do what we want it to do. Time methodically moves in these little increments. And my watch I lost, something's moving around it, and I think I hit it against the wall. But it moves at these little second moments. It doesn't reverse. It keeps moving forward. It could stop if my battery wasn't working, but at the end of the day, it keeps moving forward. If you don't want to move forward, time doesn't care. It moves forward. And so we've got to be able to say, I'm going to live in this space for a minute because I got time if I wear my mask. I got time if I get my vaccination and my booster and all of that. I got time if I do my social distancing. You know, yes, we miss the connection with others. I mean, my golly, of course we miss it. But at the end of the day, can we reinvent who we are as people and create different ways to connect and remain connected to those that we love? Absolutely. Absolutely. My sister sent me a card not too long ago. I was so overjoyed with that card. You see me smiling, I still feel it. It's because, yes, I talked to her on the phone, but the fact that she made a card, she's an artisan, so she made it, and sat down and wrote me a card-sized note, put it in the mail, and mailed it to me, and it traveled across the pond from France, across the United States, or maybe not, to my mailbox. To me, is an exciting adventure and something that at the end created so much joy for me. And so that's what I'm saying. Let's find these moments. That's mindfulness, finding these mindfulness moments when we can create joy not only for ourselves, but for other people. You see my theme? I'm sorry, I keep rubbing my nose because my allergies are killing me. I apologize. But mindfulness is the time that it takes to focus on the present, the being intentional and thoughtful about where you are and how you are feeling. You know, you've heard the voices of all of the folks in the last, I've had some incredible guests since the beginning of the year, and every single last one of them, common theme is be in the moment, feel your feelings, know yourself, love yourself, embrace yourself, forgive yourself. And then you do that for yourself, feeling it up, loving up. Then go out and do the very same thing for someone else. Wow. Wow, that's crazy madness. That's like seems so simple, but it's so difficult because of all the noise in the world that we have today. There's so much noise out there that puts us in a situation that we want to fight about everything. We want to be angry. We want to be hurt. There's people out there that actually get off on being hurt. I mean, all this kind of weird stuff that puts us in a place where we don't understand each other and we can't communicate with each other, and we've hurt each other in such a way that, you know, I remember thinking once when I was a little girl, I don't know if you all remember this, my mother would taught it to me, and it's the one place where I disagree with Mom. So I love you, Mommy, but I disagree with you on this one, where she said, words can never hurt you. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt you. Wow. And in some aspect, I probably believe that, because now as an adult and I have the tools, I can put up barriers to words so they won't hurt me. But as a child and as a young person growing up, that was very difficult to do. And I'm here to tell you, every single bad word that was said to me about me and around me hurt me and stunted my emotional growth, and why I ended up in counseling for like 10 years. Dollars well spent. But at the end of the day, words do hurt, just like sticks and stones. So we have to be careful. You know, I think these things are made up so to give us comfort and to help us to navigate the world in moments of pain. But I think we need to be careful, because sticks and stones, I never got hit by a stick and I never got hit by a stone, but I got hit by a lot of words, and those words did hurt. So I don't know if we even say that anymore. I hope we don't. Us baby boomers we were the guinea pigs to a lot of stuff, including parenting, because we surely didn't need Dr. Spock. I hate to tell you, there's some things about Dr. Spock. I was like, okay, so where'd that parenting thing come from? But anyway, we eat all the meat and we throw away the bones so that we can have a cornucopia of ideas and things in our minds. So we put nobody's thoughts down, but we take them in and use what is good for us and leave the other alone because it may not be good for us, but it's leave it alone because it might be good for somebody else. So mindfulness, right in this moment, I want you to think about a place. I want you to center your thoughts. So let's take a minute, center your thoughts, and think about your most favorite place at this moment. I'm not meaning in your whole lifetime, but in this moment, what is your favorite place? And those of you that are with us live, write it in the chat. What's your favorite place? What does that place look like, sound like? Why is it your favorite place? Write it in the chat. Let's share those places with somebody. For me, it's one of my favorite places, hands down, whole wide world, is Cuba. Believe it or not. The beaches are beautiful and pristine. The people were lovely, and I still am in contact with many of them. And my brother there, Luis, it's good always to be in contact with you and your family. I pray you are well. They follow Life is a Sacred Journey, and it was one of my favorite places. I just loved the antique cars. I loved. It was just beautiful. The country is beautiful. Yes, there's poverty, just like there's poverty in America. There's all kinds of things, but I also saw a spirit of joy and celebration when I visited Cuba. So that's one of my favorite places. What's your favorite place? And then when you do that, think about how you felt in the moment that you visited that place, why it remains your favorite place. And in moments of stress, and this is hard to do because I'm learning to do it, stop the stress, stop the madness. Remember the lady that was around, I think in the 80s, stop the madness. Okay, that's exactly what we have to do. You have to stop wherever you're doing, whether it's a Zoom call, conversation, whatever is happening that's elevating that anxiety and stress, stop it, block it. If you have to, pardon yourself, put BRB in the chat, be right back, and turn off your mute, and mute your Zoom, mute your video, and get up and move around and move your shoulders and breathe and center and know that whatever is happening there, that's not for you. Meaning the stress, meaning the angst, meaning just know it's not for you, and physically move yourself away from it, right? Physically move yourself away from it. And then, we learned, I guess a week ago, pull your arm back behind your chair, lift your leg up, hold it tight, and just let it go. Whatever's happening in that meeting can wait for your return. There's enough voices going on in most Zoom meetings. They're not going to miss your voice for 5 minutes. We must learn, and I am the worst at this. I am learning because I realize longevity. If I want longevity in my life, I have got to stop living this fast, never take time out for self. And it doesn't mean that my acts of kindness will diminish in any way, because I want to be my brother's keeper. I'm not afraid of that task given to me by the universe, but I have to do as much for myself, thank you, Nancy Redding, as I do for others. And I have thrived on neglect, meaning personal neglect, being a yes person for everything that is asked of me, and trying to be in every space with every person. And yes, I will tell you, since I've started to focus on myself, there are some people that don't like that. They have asked me to do things, or I have had to say no to some things, and for the first time, and you can tell they're a little taken back, like, "Ooh, what happened here? Why Micheal not doing that?" It's because I have to put myself first now. My children were like my major drivers for, their whole lives. And I really invested in parenting, because parenting to me is one of the best gifts we can give the universe if we do it well and to the best of our ability. It doesn't mean the product is going to come out perfect, because none of us are perfect. But when you're intentional about your parenting and you focus on your parenting and you keep your eye on that little person, then you can walk away guilt-free. That's what I always said to myself. I always thought, I'm going to give them 100 and something %, because if they get wonky and decide to be crazy and whatever, I will say I did my best. That's their choice. And I really did consciously say that to myself. I've actually said it to other people as well. So, but I love my children, and of course they are really amazing human beings. I learn more from them, and have learned more from them, I'm sure, than they possibly could ever have learned from me, because I'm kind of kooky and I move from thing to thing and spot to spot, and I see the world in this huge place, and then I have the ability to narrow it in. And so I'm kind of kooky to be if you ever meet them, they'll tell you she's a kooky mommy. But at the end of the day, Liana and I were cleaning up my computer, and I found basketball games of my daughter, and they're all on my computer that I put them on my phone, and I didn't even know they were there. So we have to be intentional, whether it's parenting, whether it's being a wife, a husband, a partner, a friend. They have to matter, and they have to be intentional, and we must be focused on them in a way of connection, right? Creating a connection that is so wonderful when you connect with people in a mindful way. I like these ideas, and I'm going to share them with you. Having a mindful meal. Pay attention to the smell, the taste, and the look of your food. No multitasking. Anybody that follows me on Facebook, I'm taking myself to the street a little bit more. And there's a restaurant in Lafayette that last Friday on my way home, I was just like so tired. I was feeling a little depressed, and I decided to stop, not knowing that on Fridays at 4 something early evening, they have music. And they had a guitar player, and he loves Cuba, so he was playing Cuban music. What? And I was able to have Stuart. It was a pisco sour. Oh my gosh. So I had 2 pisco sours, because I sat there for quite some time, and I had a flan for dessert, and I had this delicious Caesar salad with it's a Parisian restaurant, so the seasonings were all, oh my lordy. And I sat there, I got there like at 5 something, and I was there till like almost 7:30, 8 o'clock, and went home, played with Daisy, and got up the next morning for a conference that I was attending. I've never done that. So I'll be doing that more often. I mean, I'm not trying to break the bank, because it was a pretty pricey dinner. But at the end of the day, if I can spend money on others and do for others, which I do, and I'm not going yin. We're just talking facts here and speaking the truth. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back for anything that I do. It's through the grace of God that I get to do anything that I do. So I'm very aware of that. But what I'm saying is, how come I can say yes to others and no to myself? Whoa, that's deep, right? Nancy, how come we say no to ourselves and yes to others, when it should be yes and yes? Yes, I love myself. Yes, I'm going to treat myself the way I love myself. Yes, I'm going to treat others the way that I love myself, and I forgive myself, and so therefore I can forgive others. So have a mindful meal. Getting back to the point. and pay attention to the smell, the textures, and all the wonderful around you. I interacted with everybody that walked by my table because I got there before. I was the first person when they opened up back up in the early evening. I was the first person on the outside. There were people inside. And so a person came by with their dog, and okay, you know how I feel about dogs. So I get to meet their dog and we talk about dogs and da-da-da. And then another couple with a father and a mother came, and the mother and father were visiting from out of town. And we talked about Virginia and no long stuff, just connection, people. And I had my sunglasses on the whole time, so because it was sunny and the sun was in my eyes. So we hide sometimes. Let's be connectional. I mean, it was one of the best, 3 hours of my life that I've had recently, other than Easter Sunday and going out with Nancy Redding and I have other wonderful moments, but this was a wonderful moment by myself, where I was loving me and being with me. And I shared it with you guys on Facebook because I fell in love with the guitar player. He was just amazing. And he played music that I love. When he played the girl from Impanina, however you say it, Impanina, somebody tell me how to say it right. I was just like, oh man. And then I looked it up. I realized a lot of people have sung that song. The first time I heard it, I think it was Dionne Warwick. So I don't know if you've heard that song and heard it sung by anybody, put it in the chat, share it. So have a mindful meal. I love this and I forgot them. I was going to bring them this morning, but I'll bring them next week. Blow bubbles. Okay. Your assignment this weekend is to go to the 99-cent store or any one of these places where you don't have to spend a whole lot of money and get yourself a little bottle of bubbles, okay? Put it in a sandwich bag when you tighten it, but after, put it in a sandwich bag and seal it because sometimes they leak. Put it in your car, put it somewhere where it'll be with you a lot of the time. And sometimes, just stop and blow bubbles. Stop what you're doing and blow some bubbles. It is the most incredible experience. You will love it. I have a bubble machine at my house because I love bubbles. And sometimes when I'm depressed or just not feeling myself, I plug it in, pour the bubble juice in. And again, some of this stuff I had with the kids. So I inherited. I inherited it from the kids, so I still have these things in my house. But I poured it in, and I love seeing them go up in the sky at night, up against until they disappear into the darkness. And bubbles, simple, inexpensive thing to do that will lift your spirits. And somebody walking by, if they see you blowing bubbles, it'll make them smile. It really, really will. Do not do it on the front stoop, though, when a car is driving by. I did that, and one of my bubbles popped on his windshield. He waved at me. I thought he was getting ready to do something else, but he did wave at me. He's my neighbor. So be careful with that, okay? Meditation. You want to always take time to sit and relax and be quiet and hear the sounds of the world around you, hear the sounds of children. You can hear them in the distance. The high school is not that far from me, but it's I live in this bubble, this thing, so I can hear them applauding when there's a game or a track meet or something. Take time to embrace your community and the sounds of it, the good sounds of it, because there are some. Get up early one morning. I get up very early. I'm an early riser. I don't sleep very much. I need to sleep more, but I'm an early riser. And because of that, this morning, let me tell you who I met walking across my front yard this morning, because I had forgotten to put the trash things out in today's trash day. Two huge, they were huge raccoons. Mommy and daddy just walking across my front lawn. And when I opened the door, those little eyes shine back at me. I was like, peace, good morning, shut the door. And I watched them through the cameras around my house, and I watched them walk down the street. And when they left, I went and put my trash cans out. But again, nature and things are everywhere, and I just let them do their thing. And my hope was like, okay, don't be getting on the car, don't be trying to chew up the vehicle, just keep walking by. And that's what they did. And so I went back and looked at the videos on it. They come by there all the time at 3-something in the morning, and they must just walk down the street. I don't know. So to Mr. and Mr. Raccoon, now I understand why Alpha was always at that front door sniffing. He knew you were invading my property, but welcome to the neighborhood. Coloring. I know that a lot of people are doing adult coloring books and all of that. You know that I've started painting. I'm going to bring you, when I finish one of my paintings, I will bring it for you to see. But focus on the colors and the design, or don't focus at all. Remember when we used to take our paintbrushes? You're going to have to put stuff on the ground and make sure you put some, maybe go outside and do it. When we used to take the paint and do this on stuff, go ahead and do that. Enjoy that moment, or put it, finger painting. Remember we used to do that? Enjoy. Do some coloring, do some painting. They say listening to music, we all know that. We have some musicians among us, and I'm a baby musician, but at the end of the day, music soothes me. Music soothes most people, children, animals, music. Like, was that music soothes the savage beast or something, I think was the saying. But make time for music and have it around you, and you know, music that uplifts and makes you feel it and resonates with you. For me, it's the cello. Oh my gosh, if I hear a cello or a violin, any of that, and then the wind, the flute, oh, the guitar, the acoustic, wait a minute, all of the instruments. I love music. So make time for that. Limit your multitasking. You know, for example, it says trying to fold laundry, make dinner, and watch your child all at once is work. And then it's not something that you can enjoy because you're, you know, bum, 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 trying to juggle. And unless you really are a good juggler, it will show up at some point and make you feel tired and worn out. So just do one thing at a time. First of all, we're coming out of this pandemic changed, and we went into a pandemic being rushed, multitasking, told that we had to live our lives at the top of the type A, 445, and that is not true. It's not. It's true if you want to die early, but people who really are successful, I've been doing my homework. You know, I'm following Rob Schallenberger. I'm learning. I'm doing all this learning behind the scenes. They are methodical. They think about what their vision and mission are, and they put all the pieces together for that vision and mission, and they focus on it. They focus, accomplish. New thing. Focus, accomplish. That's how they do it. They don't go, oh, focus. Even people who have multiple things that they do, they're derivatives of one thing. You know, if you want, I'll use some pop culture people, the Kardashians. Everything they do is a derivative of them, right? The makeup, the clothing, nothing is out of the realm of their personal life, and they expose it all 100%, and that's their product. They don't have 50 minutes. Yeah, they have 50 million products within that theme, but they don't have they're not all over the place with all kinds of things. Their focus was, we are going to be the #1 family on social media. Accomplished. So we got to think about how we live our lives and stop having people drag our brains from here to there and have us thinking that we need to be something and doing all these things. We need to stop and think, and let's limit our multitasking, because it's not good for us. It doesn't work, and it doesn't accomplish anything. You just kind of keep doing everything. And you sometimes, when you multitask, you begin to resent. I used to do that here at ASAP, multitasking, and began to resent. Couldn't find the joy in what I do, and I love what I do. Stop, focus, accomplish, and then keep it moving, right? Keep it moving, keep dreaming into the future, all right? We want to make peace with uncertainty. I think that, oh man, that's going to make me cry. We have to make peace with uncertainty, because nothing in life is certain. Just isn't. Nothing. I've had visions of all kinds of things in my life, and some of them, they have come right on target, near focus. And then there's some things that popped up in my life that I was just like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? But instead of wallowing in it, living in it, I make peace with the uncertainty. I make peace with the uncertainty of what tomorrow has to bring, or if tomorrow will come at all. I make peace with the uncertainty of my existence as it relates to anything that I'm engaged in. I know it can go on without me, and that's okay. Make peace with the uncertainty, because uncertainty is more a part of our lives than you think. It's probably 80% of our lives, because we're not certain about anything. I hope that my car starts every morning. I take good care of it. I do all the things that I need to do, so my percentage is higher. But at the end of the day, you can go out and your car might not start. Or like my driver said today, he got up this morning and he had a flat tire. How many of us have experienced that? Uncertainty. But then you make sure you have your AAA so that you can make peace with the uncertainty. You make a phone call and you keep it moving. Yeah, keep it moving. So making peace with the uncertainty means learning how to tolerate the uncertainty and knowing that it's a big part of life, and then building a healthy coping skills so that you can move forward in that way. So I just want to thank you. We've got some guests coming up in the future, and that's really cool. And, you know, I really do make friendships with all of the people that come to Life is a Sacred Journey. I have a special shout out this morning to the Berkeley Lions Club. I want to thank them for everything that they continue to do for ASAB and for the community around us. This just thank you so much. And before we close today, I want to tell you that I realized last week that when I said go hug a tree, that it was something Tree Earth Day something, and that there was this whole campaign where people actually did go into a forest and hug a tree and actually sat beneath the tree and read to the tree. The tree is a living thing. So I'm going to add that to your list of things to do. Go hug a tree, and then if you can, find a tree that you can sit at the base of and read it a story. And then thank it. Thank it for its years of shade and oxygen, and know how important the tree is to your existence. So I think I'm late. In honor of Earth Day, hug a tree, read a book to the tree, and thank it for its life and for the life-giving everything that it gives to you. So before we end, I now have this right on my computer so I won't forget it. If you are out there in the world and the stress of COVID and the stress of life has just gotten to you, or it's not about stress and it's just about life circumstances, and you see yourself or don't see yourself in this world, the suicide hotline, lifeline, chat line is open to you 24/7. There's always a friendly voice on the other side, a non-judging voice on the other side, and their phone number is 1-800-273-8255. If you feel any of that, you feel like you want to cut yourself, or you want to do harm to yourself in any way, shape, or form because you don't matter, you're invisible, the world's better off without you. It's not true. It's the negative voices in your head and the negative stuff that has made the world unbearable for many, many of us. Take a moment, find a phone, find a person that can help you, 1-800-273-8255. So you know that we talk about thriving on neglect. I've talked about that. I've talked about joy. I've talked about happiness. We've had people come on to talk about all kinds of things. All of these things are just things that you can put in your travel bag so that you can maybe use them to expand the quality of your life in a way that you're really living your best self, that you're being intentional, that you're being mindful. And it's all about the soul, the S-O-U-L. It's about the soul. And that's that thing inside of us that loves music. That's that thing that loves poetry, that loves to read books, that loves the smile, that loves a baby. That's emotional space is our soul. So Thomas More, I collect affirmations, I collect all of these things, wrote this about the soul. When the soul is neglected, it doesn't just go away. It appears systematically in obsessions, addictions, violence, and loss of meaning. So something is wrong in our world where we've created a world where people's souls can't jump for joy and instead become places of violence and pain, depression, and sorrow. So let's be the change we want to see. Let's be better than we were yesterday or a minute ago, because we always can change. Let's get rid of judgment. Let's walk out in love. And the world will be a better place because you have made it so. Just by your one little light. Remember that song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to let it shine? Okay. So take your light out into the world and be the change you want to be, and come back next Friday morning at 8 a.m. on Life is a Sacred Journey. We'll be happy to see you, and have a great weekend, and peace.